What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Happy 4th of July. Can you see my shirt? Anyways, every time drinking holidays come around like this, things like Thanksgiving Eve and 4th of July, I'm always reminded of this story. Are you guys down for a little story time? This doesn't leave this safe place. I actually don't even think I've ever told the story aloud because I'm so mortified of it still to this day. So just to show you the perils of drinking, I'm going to tell you about the time that I couldn't hang with the 21-year-olds. So basically it was my cousin Melanie's 21st birthday, and my aunt had planned a beautiful day out to the wineries. I used to live on Long Island, New York, and that is wine country. So if you go out east, it's about an hour ride. You start hitting patches of winery after winery after winery. It's a big wedding and birthday destination because you can kind of just winery hop. You usually get like a limo or something out that way. That way you can just kind of go from winery to winery, not have to worry about drinking and driving, and then they take you back at the end of the day. So my aunt had planned this beautiful day out to the wineries for my cousin's 21st birthday, and I'm a lot older than my cousin Melanie and my sister Ashley. I'm 10 years older than them, so that had to make this around the time I was 31 years old. I'm about to be 34 now, so it was about 3 years ago. We started out at her house. She had rented, I think it was a party bus of some sort. My cousins had decorated it beautifully. It was really cute, and my cousin's friends, anyone who was 21 obviously, were all invited. So it was mainly 21-year-olds, and I was kind of in that awkward like demographic. I was a lot older than my cousins, but I hung with the ladies in the front and let the 21-year-olds do their thing in the back, and I kind of was hanging out, talking to my aunt's friends and stuff, just kind of like, you know, relaxing on the way out there. My aunt had packed bagels so that we can kind of like coat our stomachs before we hit the wineries, and they also did mimosas. I didn't want to get too crazy. I had 1 or 2 mimosas just because I'm a champagne lover on the way out, and I had a bagel to coat my stomach. So we get to the first winery. It was really nice. I think we had about 4 on our tour that day. And we get to the first one. It was really nice, and at each of them the way it goes is that they do tasting. They have outdoor music, a lot of them, and you can kind of like explore the winery grounds, and then you can also order wine by the glass when you're done. A lot of places have like cheese boards and charcuteries and stuff like that you can order, so it's really nice. It's like a really nice relaxing thing and a fun thing to do for birthdays. I've done many a birthday out there. So we get to the first one, we have our tasting, and I was cool. I was just like, okay. Then we hop on the bus and we go to the next destination. That is the destination that we had planned to have lunch at. My aunt had ordered like, I think little deli sandwiches, if I'm not mistaken. Details of the day later on get a little blurry, but I remember that is the winery that we had lunch at. So we had our tasting there, but then this is the winery that things started going awry. So after we had our tasting, we put out lunch, and I remember the cold cuts sitting out, and I'll tell you this detail is important later. I remember the cold cuts like kind of sitting out in the sun, but we did have, you know, sandwiches, and then we all decided that we were going to get another glass of wine. So that was my one where I started to feel a little drunk at that point. It was only the second winery, but I mean, honestly, I'm 100 pounds, so I can get drunk off a glass and a half of wine. I'm not a big drinker to begin with. I've never been someone good at holding my liquor. I don't drink super heavy. I used to in college, but like we're talking now that, you know, I was in my 30s at this point, things had slowed down. So at this point, I'm feeling a little tipsy. And I was still okay. I remember everything, and I had one more sandwich before we got back on the bus because at this point, when you start drinking, you start getting hungry more often. It's like your body being like, help, I need to like cope. So I filled my belly, we get back on the bus, and we go to the third winery. The third winery, again, was okay. At this point, I don't want to say drunk, but I'm very buzzed. And I remember this winery being the turning point of the trip, because there comes to a point where it's like, no matter how much you drink water, you just screwed. Like, you're done. Like, no matter how much you drink, no matter how many Tylenols you take, the hangover is coming. It's just like, will it catch up to you before you get home? So the third winery, I was feeling not sick, but I was feeling the effects of alcohol in the sun. It was still really fun, and I don't kind of let down too often, and this is one of those trips that I kind of like knew getting on the bus, like, I'm gonna get drunk today. I didn't know I was gonna get sick, but I knew I was gonna get drunk. I went out there on a mission. It was my cousin's 21st birthday, and you know, we all kind of got dressed up, and it was a girls' day out. You guys know how it goes. So at this one, this was the turning point where I was like, yes, I am drunk. Hello. So I was feeling the effects of alcohol, and I was kind of loving that. Like, we started dancing, there was music at most of those wineries, and then we got on the bus and we went to the fourth winery. Now the fourth winery, let me just put a little disclaimer out there, is known for not having the best wine. But it's the most fun out of all of them, which usually on most tours, wine tours, it's the one that like ends the trip because it's the most fun. They have a DJ, they have like frozen sangria, which is super popular. So I remember at this point being like, you know, I don't love the wine here. I'm gonna skip the tasting. So I kind of skipped the tasting. There's one peach wine there that's like okay. It was like the only tolerable one. And I knew I had to be drunk at this point because I even skipped that. And for me to skip, like, you know, we had paid for the tastings. For me to skip that, I had to be pretty intoxicated at that point. So I remember going in, and my cousin, Melanie, whose birthday it was, we were like inside, and I felt like a baller. Like, I was like, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna drop some money. And I remember they had these pitchers of sangria there. Now these were not included with the wine package or the tastings of it or anything, and they were like pretty expensive. If my memory serves me correct, I want to say they were like $50. And basically it was just like an Instagram ploy, because the sangria in them wasn't even that good, but they came in like sand buckets. So it's like a colorful sand bucket, and the shovel, it's frozen sangria. I think they had two. There was like a watermelon one and something else. And I was like, you know what, $50, I got you. And I was like, I'm gonna just buy this for all of us, and we're gonna have this big pail of frozen sangria. It's gonna be awesome. The DJ's playing, I'm feeling good, and I was like, $50? Psh, I got that, even though that was probably like my day's salary during those days. So anyway, I buy this bucket of frozen sangria, and that was the beginning of the end, because you take all these tastings, all this wine, probably little absorption of said wine at this point, and now I'm drinking sugar water. It was basically like sugar, a tiny bit of wine, and like ice. So I buy this bucket, I give it to my cousin, I'm like, happy birthday, let's party! And we're like dancing and everything. And then I don't remember much. I do remember having to go to the bathroom, and like the lines at these places are crazy. So I briefly contemplated going to the porta potties. There were a bunch of porta potties outside, and I just didn't think, frankly, I could make it there. At this point I was like, kind of like, not stumbling, but like disoriented. You know, where you like make one wrong turn and you're like, where's my group? Where am I? Are we still at the wineries? Are we still in New York? Is this Long Island? So I was like, I'm just gonna stay here. So I waited in this long line, and I was in that bathroom for a long time, and I don't know what I did in there. I remember not going in there to puke. I actually went in there because I had to pee really bad. But like, I don't know why I was in there so long. I think I was in there like 20 minutes. I don't know if I couldn't find the toilet paper, if I was searching for the bowl in the room. Everything seemed in slow motion. Like, I was just so disoriented. And when I came out of that bathroom, I could not find my group. At this point I was drunk, and like stumbling drunk. So I'm looking, and not sick like I'm gonna puke drunk, like I don't know where I am. Like, I've lost my party. So I'm looking for everybody, and I couldn't find them. And there was a little bit of panic. I knew that they hadn't left without me, but there's a lot of people at these wineries, especially in the summer. They're like packed. So I'm looking for everyone, and I couldn't even find like my sister and my cousin Melanie. Like nobody, I think like faces started blurring at that point. I probably passed them and didn't even know it, but I'm like looking for people. I could not find anybody. Finally, I stumbled on my mom outside, or maybe she stumbled on me. I honestly don't remember. But I remember her saying like, we've been looking for you, like the bus is leaving, are you okay? And me being like, I don't even know, slurring some incomprehensible. She's like, do you have to go to the bathroom? And I was like, yeah, I need to go to the bathroom. But again, like everything seemed like such a big task to do. Like I didn't want to have to go all the way back in. So I believe I used the porta potty outside, and then things went black. Like I think as soon as I got onto the bus, I passed out. Now, being a lightweight in the sun, 4 wineries, all these drinks later, if I would have just passed out and went to sleep, I would have felt a little bit like a loser, but I would have been okay with that. I would have been resolved to just take my nap and just quietly make my exit into night-night land on the bus. But that is not what happened. I remember being very tired and putting my head down on the window. I was in the row by myself, and now that I come to think of it, I think that was purposeful. Like, I don't think anybody wanted to sit next to me. They passed by me and were like, that girl, something doesn't look right with her. I'm just gonna pass the seat by. And so, again, I'm in the front of the bus with like the uncool people, like the people over 21. So it's basically like my aunt and my mom and my aunt's friend. As soon as the bus started and rolled out of that gravel parking lot, the spins, they came. And they came and they did not leave. So I remember being like, I'm gonna be sick, and my aunt's like, oh, hold on. She's making sure I'm not gonna like throw up on the bus, and she grabbed a bag that someone had bought wine at one of the wineries and was going to carry their wine home in it. But nope, now it doubled as a barf bag, because when I started throwing up, I did not stop throwing up for the entire hour-and-a-half ride home. When I tell you guys, I've never been so sick in my life. I didn't throw up once. I didn't throw up twice. I didn't throw up 3 times. I didn't throw up 10 times. I threw up, I think they counted like over 20 something times. Like, I don't even know how there was anything left in my stomach. Like, at first, it was really hard to throw up because I was throwing up like the contents of my lunch, which was lumpy, and then it was just wine, and then it was just bile. Like, I don't even know if anything was coming up at the end. That's how sick I was. And I think I would have been okay. Maybe I would have woken up and thrown up if we were just like stationary, but because that bus was like bouncing around and moving and making turns, I was just like so sick to my stomach. Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing because all the 21-year-olds are chilling in the back. Oh, they were fine. It was a 31-year-old throwing her guts up. And that's why, you guys, I don't really drink like that anymore. And I have a good idea why I'm not the biggest fan of rosé. I'm pretty sure that watermelon sangria had a rosé base, because every time I even smell rosé, like, it just, I could feel it coming up. So, yeah, that was the time that I could not hang with the 21-year-olds at my cousin's 21st birthday. I don't think I've ever been sick like that again since. That was like almost 3 years ago. I learned my lesson. I learned the perils of drinking too much alcohol. Like, I feel like I almost died that night. Like, I woke up, I got back to my mom's house. I stayed there for her to take care of me. And I woke up like 4 hours later, and it felt like literally a truck ran over me and then backed up and ran over me 3 more times. That's how horrible I felt. I think I even tried making excuses the next day, like, oh, those cold cut sandwiches at the second winery were sitting out in the sun. Maybe it was food poisoning, and wishing and hoping someone else got sick so I could be like, see, it was food poisoning. And I asked my aunt, I was like, did anyone else get sick? Because like, that couldn't have just been alcohol. And she's like, nope. Everyone else was fine, sweetie. You just drank too much. And I was like, oh, okay. It so mortifying. So mortifying when your 21-year-old sister, your 21-year-old cousin, I have a couple older cousins too, like in their mid-20s. Everyone else was fine. It was just Rachel that could not hold her alcohol. So embarrassing, you guys. So embarrassing. So anyways, that is my little story time. Be safe out there today. It is 4th of July, which is a big drinking celebratory holiday. Have fun, but be safe. Make sure that you're drinking enough water in between. Especially when you're drinking in the sun, I just feel like it literally magnifies the effects of alcohol tenfold. And just be careful. That's it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Oh, and please like and comment. Let me know if you guys liked story times. I have a lot of them. So if you want to see more, let me know. Alright, love you guys. Bye.